I'm in the city. I'm in the city vault.
Oh, all the gold, I see it now.
Where all the gold is stored?
Figured it was appropriate for the budget meeting. I'm in the city.
What I do?
He's muted.
We ready, Fran?
Yes, sir. Whenever you are.
Okay. It's Thursday, August 6th, 2020. It's 5 p.m. exactly right now. So we'll open up this City Council special meeting, call it to order. And any item number 2, which is city comments and reports. Did we get any?
No, sir.
Okay. So we'll move on at this point. Discuss and take action on, first of all, item A, which is declaration of disaster. That's the Hurricane Hannah disaster. And Rick, you want to jump in on that?
I'm sorry, say again, Mayor.
Yeah.
They have it.
Did you want to jump in on the Hurricane Hannah declaration disaster, Rick? Any news on that?
We've not, no, I mean, we know that there's a disaster. So, I mean, the question is, we haven't identified that we have any, we didn't have any contributing damage that we could report and support it. But we think Corpus Christi alone is going to have enough in the disaster summary outline to be declared, for the county to be declared disaster area.
Okay. Any
Yeah,
comments?
we have police hours and staff hours too. So we
Yeah,
have
so the result of that will simply be, as David said, the potential for reimbursement. Also, it'll open up some potential mitigation money that we may be able to utilize. So we fully expect that the county will be declared a disaster area.
Did we use any
Oh, for crying out loud.
capital or whatever?
All day long.
Yeah,
I'm not going to, I'm stopping answering the folks. I'm not going to answer any more people for Port Aransas or anywhere else.
Doug's still tallying stuff. We just got 5 more trash cans back from the county. So I'll get a count. I'll have it for you next
I
week.
mean, is it less than 10%, 1%?
Oh, no, it's a small number.
Yeah.
I think he counted, we removed about 150 of the cans off the beach. And I think he was under 20, but we've gotten a bunch back, so.
Sure.
It's
And would this disaster help
Yeah,
some?
yes, absolutely. It'd pay for all those. It would pay for staff hours of cleaning the beach, staff hours of banding the beach.
Motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Councilmember Holt,
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford,
Yes.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Councilmember Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember Solomine,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moore,
Yes.
Mayor Bouillon.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay. Item B is our 2021 budget proposal. So put that up.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead. Did you hear me?
Yeah, this is Chief. I'm just listening in on the call.
Oh, okay.
Right.
It's Chief. It was Chief.
It's like,
I saw his number. I didn't know he was going to say anything.
all right,
Okay,
Darla, we're gonna have Darla kick this off.
Yeah.
Darla, you're the star of the show.
Okay, you all received a budget book, and we wanted to take this meeting a little different approach we've done in prior years of really digesting it, getting your feedback before we move forward with our meeting next Thursday. I believe is the 13th, and everybody, we had set that meeting to have it at the same time next Thursday to make the changes that y'all direct and go through from there. So to start out, this budget was built with the property tax rate that's considered the voter approval rate, which the voter approval rate is a rate 3.5% greater than the monies that we collected last year. And it is actually the tax break, and my computer went away into me shrink to. Our current tax rate is 0.283112. The voter approval rate that we are proposing in this budget is 0.277346. So it's actually a cut to the tax rate of about, 0.06. If we went with the no new revenue rate, which means you're keeping your taxes flat, it's 0.269. So less than a penny difference between the two rates. We just built this budget with the voter approval rate because we've got some things in there that are pretty substantial, mainly in the police department. The police department is where we had our biggest increase. And the main reason for that is the radio system upgrade that Chief discussed in the council goals workshop. We would still be proposing, well, I'll talk about that later. So we can get into, hopefully everybody was able to read the summary letter that tried to go through the major points in each fund. If anybody has any questions about the letter before we dive into the funds, if you want to do that, or how.
I have a question. I read through it. I read through it, and one thing was, are we budgeting for a new lease on ambulance this year? Because
Hold on, Bruce, you're not coming.
are you not hearing me, Mayor?
You have very little.
I hear you.
Bruce asked if we were going to be budgeting a lease for that ambulance. Remember, we were going to replace an ambulance and we did not do it when COVID hit. We didn't think we could get it in for September. So we do have another lease payment to replace that ambulance in this budget.
Yeah, just,
That's fine. That's why I was just curious. Because
we couldn't get it ordered in time. We had looked at it in early July, late June, and we couldn't pull it off. None of them have anything sitting around.
well, as I know we talked about hanging off, but that's why I didn't remember what we finally agreed on.
Yeah, they have been having issues with that ambulance, mainly the AC. I think they've kind of gotten that straightened out, but that ambulance needs to be replaced.
Sure.
And that would give us the 3 in the fleet. So if we want to talk about the big capital items or personnel, what we do have in general fund is all the personnel that was requested by the departments was mainly from the chief. The chief requested to have a new dispatcher, a new patrol sergeant, a new patrol officer, and moving, we have 1 full-time animal control officer and 1 part-time animal control officer. Chief has requested to make them both full-time, so then we would have 2 full-time officers, animal control to run the animal control operations. So all 3 of those positions are in the budget, and also the assistant city manager position is in the budget right now. And it looks like the administration department didn't grow by too much. That is actually on page 7. My numbers are cut off. On page 12, that department only grew by 63,000, 90,000 in salary, but we did have the finance admin person that we added last year was budgeted under administration this year, and I moved them to finance. So finance looks like it has a growth, but really that's because I shifted that person from admin to finance. We put the assistant city manager in the administration department, and the 4 positions in police are the only general fund positions that were added.
I noticed.
I have not heard anything about the assistant city manager. I've been briefed on that.
Okay, we discussed it. It was a request brought up by Councilmember Moore during the council goals workshop to maybe add an assistant city manager to the budget, kind of a day point two that would help us with projects, planning.
Mayor, you might have, that was probably when you, remember when you had to, you cut out of the meeting early? You had an
No.
emergency?
Yeah,
I think that's when we discussed it.
Right, and it's to help us build the new ordinances and all the things that we need to do in the future.
who's going to do that?
The assistant manager.
Well, if, you know, like anything like a comp plan, stuff like that, a lot of the FEMA stuff that bogs me down, they'd be able to do that. Grants, working with, you know, the directors in each department, grant tracking, capital improvement projects, all that stuff is what they'd be tasked with.
So, David, you thought this through pretty much?
Yes, sir. I think it'd be great to have, you know, a person that could float from department to department to help out where I'm stretched too thin.
Okay,
Yeah, you're not here.
Yeah.
If you remember, Charles, when David was appointed city manager, we lost our director of planning in all of his expertise. And David did so much of that. And I know that that's part of Rick's job now, but Rick's job has grown as well in many ways. And so we haven't been able to support both of these gentlemen, nor all these other department heads post Hurricane Harvey. So it was my suggestion that we look long and hard for someone who could be an assistant city manager and not only help these two gentlemen who have, you know, large roles within our city, but Darla and you know, the rest of the staff. And there's many things, like to Joan's point, that we've had to put on the back burner because of our Harvey recovery, like the comprehensive plan review and a lot of planning and development. And our town continues to grow despite recovery. So we felt as a council, and it was discussed for a long time at the goals workshop meeting the other day, that that would be a wise use of city funds if we could put it in the budget and afford it.
and what's the expense there?
I don't know why it's secret in my computer anymore. I believe it was loaded at about 140,000.
No, that's me.
No, loaded.
Oh, that's with, okay.
Loaded
I
with
think it
benefits.
was 76 or something, wasn't it?
No, it was,
Yeah,
yes. So when you have somebody for a base salary, you've got to increase their earnings by probably about 30% because of health insurance, dental insurance, retirement. Well, we don't match that, but the FICA, which is Social Security, which is required by law, 7.65% on top of that is just flat out goes to the match for Social Security.
So salary wise, probably 90s to 105.
Right around 100, 104, I think is what I put it in at right now. You know,
What did you say, Darla?
I believe I have a base salary in there right now of 104. I'm not sure exactly what we could find. If we could go down a little bit, I mean, it depends on qualifications for an individual. But
And that comes out directly out of our
Yeah,
fund,
that's a general fund.
general fund, yeah.
Yes, sir.
yeah, I don't know how to get to
Still
it.
have 6 months. We can still count on 6 months of reserve based
This
using,
budget is built to where after expenses, even though we're dipping into reserves, we would be at 6 months reserve period. It is, I did that calculation. It would give us with approximately 183 days of reserve. That's on our,
you
that
say
is in the,
183?
I'm
Oh, I
sorry,
see.
sir?
it. Yeah, I see it's approximately 183 days.
Right, and 180 days is 6 months. So
Okay.
it would-
As long as we meet the 6-month reserve test.
Now, also the way the budget is, and Darla could touch base on how close these numbers are. no new revenue rate versus the current revenue rate. It's so close that if we finance the radios in PD instead of doing a $300 or a $450,000 purchase, if we finance that, it would, that step right there would kick us down into a no new revenue rate, meaning no tax increase at all.
Well, I wanted to talk about the request for radio equipment anyhow as a separate issue.
So, right, the radios, the total project for the radios are 750,000. This is assuming a 2-year finance with the company, 450,000 down, 350,000 or 90,000 actually at what year 2 through 5. So it is a 5-year, but they're making us do a huge chunk first year. So we could finance that $750,000 with another company and spread the payment out evenly over 5 years, and we would not have to, as David said, we could look more at doing the no new revenue rate.
Have we not had this issue on previous budgets about more radio equipment?
They originally put the radio equipment in to start the system this year, but it did not happen. It didn't get done with COVID and getting the purchase and getting everything started to have the new system.
Yes, but you're right, Mayor. We had initially kicked it off last budget cycle, but we never pulled it off.
I think it's a recurring issue. It's a
Well, that
recurring
still
issue.
stands though. I mean, what we voted on then still is voted on. So I don't see why it's on there at all.
No, each budget stands independently on its own.
Yeah, so since we didn't spend it, we have to roll it over. Do you guys have to reapprove it?
A council cannot commit a future council to anything. That's why you couldn't pass this budget and say, you know what, we're gonna do $450,000 in radios, because you'd have to commit to the other 350,000 in some type of financing mechanism that's signed by y'all, because what would happen if the next council came in and said, I'm not gonna pay that 350,000, and that's not legal. So each budget year stands independently on its own. Because you were in a different body of what you were last year.
Read you.
Excellent. So let me just tell you what the difference is, because I got it on my computer now, between the no new revenue rate and the.
Oh, wait a minute. On the assistant city manager, David, where are you going to house him? He's not going to be in my office.
No, and nice of you to pick up on that, but yes, that is an issue we're having to work on. They're probably going to be in a closet to start off with.
All right.
Or Mayor moves to the closet and gets his office. Okay.
Darla, what were you saying?
So the difference between the no new revenue rate and the voter approval rate is $165,790 worth of revenue. So if we stayed at the no new revenue rate, your tax revenues would go down by $165,790. Right now, what we have in the budget is property tax, $5,235,000. It would go down to $5,069,000. I'm getting old, this screen smaller.
So Darla, the no new revenue rate is 0.277346. And then what is?
0.26.
That's voter
No, it's
approved.
0.269, David.
Yeah, what's the no new revenue rate?
0.269842.
And what was the old rate?
0.28.
So why doesn't that reduce my taxes, even with the
Right.
272?
Each
Exactly.
individual is different. When we talk about a tax increase, it's looking at the tax roll as a whole.
But
So
it's
each
not a tax
individual is, if your appraised value didn't change and we
Right.
go with that voter approval rate, your taxes do decrease.
Right.
But reading
So the
it
only
way-
increase would be if you had higher evaluation.
Or you can read it the other way, it's like the general value ballpark for quarter ends went up 3.5%.
I'm against increasing our tax rate at all.
Well, it's not an increase in our tax rate.
Well,
It's a decrease.
no, I'm saying, but if we leave it as it is, 0.28,
Right.
get alone.
We can't do.
We couldn't do
We can't.
0.28, we'd have, because that would trigger an election.
Yeah. And
There, the max is 0.277346, anything greater than that triggers an election.
Okay,
Unless we did say we had a disaster, COVID qualifies, and we could go over. But I would recommend that.
What was it, 8% or something? I know. I think I was
Yes,
reading
they
Rockport-
percent can stay,
Rockport's looking at doing that, at least talking about it.
but I would not recommend that.
Well,
all right,
they're
so
going for
what
it.
are we recommending here? Which one?
We built
2.7?
it- We built the budget with the voter approval rate, which is 0.277346, which is the maximum rate we can do without doing an election unless we declare a disaster. But
Which is a decrease over our current rate, so that's fine.
it's a decrease over the tax rate, right, of a half a penny.
Okay.
And the difference between what we can go, no new revenue rate and the voter approval rate is less than a penny, 0.008. Our tax, the smaller your tax rate is, the smaller that difference will be. In our tax rate, we emailed to you, Joan and Mayor, the tax rate comparison. I think you all got it here. This is just showing the tax rates of all the entities that our taxpayers pay into, and the city of Port Aransas is only 15.7% of your total tax rate. City of Oasis County is 17.5%. Yeah, the services we provide are,
Darla, you're garbling. Can you repeat
I'm
that?
talking about- yes, sir. The email that, did you receive an email of a tax rate graph? I don't know if you can, I'm still on the computer or not.
I'll take a picture of it and send it to him.
You
Okay,
mean net taxable value? Is that what you're talking about?
I'm talking about the tax rate dollars that our citizens pay in taxes. Of every dollar you pay in tax, only 15% of that goes to the city.
Okay,
17% goes to the county, 6% to the hospital district,
What's the school?
gotcha.
6.06.
Okay,
Okay,
yeah, that's fine.
okay. So this budget is built with that rate, and we would stay right at our 6-month reserve. This budget went exactly as it's presented, which doesn't happen. Sometimes you do better in revenue. Sometimes, you may not do as well, but we were very conservative in our revenue estimates, David. Definitely, looked long and hard at our sales tax analysis. We did drop that down since this year we did not perform as well as we did last year. We took sales tax down by 236,000. So
It's really hard because
you don't know.
you have to throw out, well, 17's not bad because really we only lost September. So that one's pretty decent, but 18 was really bad. And then 19 was really bad because it was a hodgepodge of a whole bunch of businesses were still out, but we started getting all the windmill tax and it just threw everything, made everything really wonky. It's, so you really got to go to look at your numbers. You got to go back and look at 15, 16, and 17. And then the last couple of years are just phenomenal.
Because recovery can spur sales tax increases. We had a lot of people here helping us out. And there weren't a whole lot of places to buy things, but even food that they bought here, different things can definitely increase that. So we did dial back. We were very conservative in our sales tax revenue. We also dropped back our building permits because our recovery is gotten to the point where we dialed that back some. Consequently, though, we also have dialed back our contracting out to additional help in
BV.
building inspections. BV Veritas has been helping us with inspections because our load has been so great. We dialed that back in the inspection department. So really revenues, those are the only big changes we made were to sales tax. We also have a pretty significant drop in what we reimburse from the beach fund to the general fund because I've always been your cover letter. We have shifted our philosophy about 6-7 years ago and trying to send things out of the beach fund instead of out of general fund, but it cuts down our reimbursement. Central operating pretty much stayed the same. City manager administration department we discussed. We did keep the Hugo Berlanga in the budget for next.
Yeah, we can have a pretty busy upcoming legislative session. It's going to kick off pretty soon.
We did keep that in. We've got a lot of grants that are coming down the pipe with the EDA grant, with the, we might be getting some money, potential money out there from the Deepwater Horizons bill, the HMGP grant, the CDBG grants. We've dialed in 75,000 under mayor and council to assist us with consulting services if it's things that we can't dial into the grants, but it's just so much we may need some help with that. But we don't need today.
I like the budget.
I'm sorry?
I said I like the budget.
Okay. Are there any other things anyone wants to discuss in general fund? I will say personnel, we also did get the step increase in here if anybody qualifies. If there's the max in their pay grade, we did not have it. We did adjust a few positions. 2 of our groundskeepers are getting herbicide license. It was discussed in the RDC meeting. And then there's another one in the nature preserve where they have to pass a test to get chemicals. So we were moving them up 1 pay grade for that. It was discussed the beach surf rescue manager. We're changing that title from aquatics manager to surf rescue manager. We moved his position up a few pay grades. And
irrigation specialist.
it was herbicide.
Oh, he's herbicide.
Yeah, so they were rolled in. And 1 person in the harbor, we're moving their pay grade up a little bit. For some extra maintenance, one of our workers for some extra maintenance.
How did the health benefits?
I'm glad you asked that. Okay, the health benefits are going to be brought to you on the 13th.
The 13th.
13th.
Mhm.
Next week's meeting, we've got a couple of things on the agenda in addition to the budget. One of them is going to be health benefits. Humana came in with an increase.
We had a really good response.
We had a really good response when we went out for bids for our insurance. We had United Healthcare came in, Blue Cross came in, Aetna came in, United Healthcare came in the best. Once they came in, our broker went out and did a, what do they call it?
Best and final offer.
Best offer. And they tried to tweak it with them. United Healthcare actually came in with a 2% decrease to our current health insurance rates, keeping our benefits pretty much what they were.
Y'all were about 30%.
Yeah, we were
Yes.
really
And
nervous.
Humana did not come down. So we are going to have to change to United Healthcare. So we're bringing that to you on the 13th so that we can roll out to our employees our open enrollment so that we can get everybody's cards in by October 1st and hopefully the deductibles and all that. So we are going to have to do a switch to United Healthcare. But that definitely helped our budget and being able to do the thing with the personnel. Yeah, 2% adds up. So it was good news. We were with United Healthcare prior to Humana. I said exactly what
You won't be able to go to CVS. Get ready.
we had it before, and I understand Humana, but
They don't like CVS. They don't like it.
they want you to do mail order.
They want, I don't know what it is, but it's just United Healthcare and CVS are not on the same, they don't have an agreement. So when you switch to United Healthcare, you no longer can use CVS as your preferred pharmacy. Now that could change, but I was on United Healthcare before, and but the same thing. I mean, we switched. You know, you just find the best deal every time, but you'll have to go to HB or mail order or whatever.
We will talk to our broker about that whenever we have a problem, and with as many employees as we have in this area, they work with us to try to push it through, trying to put pressure on them, but I know American Bank's much bigger than we are, but yeah, good luck. They've gotten doctors on there before for
Yeah,
us, so,
so absolutely, that's their job. It's good.
right. Who knows if they can, but.
What about Public Works? I noticed on the salaries, most of the salaries were budgeted up. But I noticed Public Works, was for salaries was down 40. Is that just less staff or?
Yeah,
It's actually probably turnover in staff. We've had some people retire that were at the top of their pay grade. So when we're rebudgeting those positions, they come in at the lower pay grade. We did not cut any positions in the budget in Public Works or in Beach. Really, we didn't cut any positions in any department. We added the ones I discussed, but we did not cut any positions. So it's just going to be a turnover of getting less expensive.
Darla, hadn't we budgeted 2 police positions 2 years ago, and then chief never, didn't they fall off the books?
They fell off the books after Harvey.
Right, so yes, so there were 2 officers in the 2016-17 or 2017-18 budget.
They were gonna go in the 17-18
Yeah.
budget, and you approved that budget right when Harvey hit. And we approved them within the budget, but we froze it, we never filled them, and so
But we dropped it.
we dropped them out of the
Yeah,
budget
so-
last year,
Right,
so they're back in the budget this
Yeah,
year.
so
Kind of the
those-
same with
those
that
two are-
dispatcher.
yeah, so that's not in addition to what we did in 2017-18.
This
Maybe.
would put it up to.
Yes, sir.
You're referring to the patrol officer and the patrol sergeant? Is that,
Yes,
yeah. Yeah, we
This
definitely, we need more police. All of this has shown me that we have to have more people on the force.
Including chief, this is 23 officers.
It's stretching people too much and, manning access roads and all this kind of stuff. It's becoming burdensome.
I've been forwarded that employees. We need to add more.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would give us 23.
Regional transit, is that our
RTA,
RTA
yes.
system? Do we have 5 people?
We have 4 full-time
And a-
with a part-timer budgeted. And the regional transit, if you notice, it's got $219,650 as an expense. If you look at the revenues, it's $219,650 in expense. So whatever we budget for them, we collect from RTA.
And the new routes are not RTA, or not Orday RTA hires. They're hired directly with either RTA or who's RTA's new sub they use?
I don't
Yeah, so the
know.
new route
I'm not sure.
are not the city RTA drivers.
Yeah, we only have to cover the Plexi B and the shuttle.
Yeah.
That we've been covering forever. That was, those additional routes. So whatever we budget for them, we turn around, we budget RTA and then reimburse us dollar for dollar.
Are all these numbers basically being fully staffed? And are we fully staffed right now?
All these numbers are being fully staffed. I do not put lots money in departments for not being fully staffed. And I know that there's your bigger departments, you're gonna get savings through that. And that's a lot of times why we improve better budget. We're not fully staffed in all departments. Police right now has 2 openings, one that just happened recently. So they have 2 openings. Public Works has a few openings.
Yeah, it's hard to keep the Public Works beat. It's a hard outside job, and we've had a lot of people there a long time. But we just got new ads going out. Are those ads out?
They're out.
Yeah,
Yes.
so we're constantly trying to fill them.
Speaking of this billing, just, I know kind of backtracking here. Do you think it's gonna be easy to find an assistant city manager? Is that gonna be, I mean, I know that's a hard position to fill.
I think it's gonna be hard to fill. I mean, we haven't filled a high level director in quite a while.
And
But it's
you're
been- it's
usually
been
gonna have to get on the
difficult.
move here.
Yeah, well, that's basically, that's kind of.
I don't think there's a whole lot of planner professionals in the area.
But somebody that will be here 5 or 6 years and semi-retired, maybe, I don't know, and lives here.
And it's hard to
Like at
just,
home.
there's not, even within the city of Corpus Christi and other cities, there's not people you can steal.
No.
Well, I said that,
Yeah.
that's what I said, it just seems like that may be a position that goes unfilled for a while.
It definitely could. We have it in there for the whole year. So we have it in there starting October 1st to September 30th. That cost is 100% in there.
You know, you might get lucky and go out to bid and get 5 good qualified candidates, hire one in October, November or something.
And that's the same with the police budget, right? So we were budgeting full staff, but right now we're 2 down, so.
Yes, sir.
Joan would like
They
to
did do
speak.
interviews
Someone
last
has
Saturday.
to comment.
Councilmember Holt would like to speak.
Yeah, David, I'm just asking, have you all started looking around at all, or why do you know that there's nobody available?
No, I'm just speculating that South Texas isn't known as a hotbed for city planner, CIP grant people. It's just never has been.
Right,
It
so
is
I'll have
gonna be,
to plug in,
and I mean the surrounding cities, Portland, Ingleside, it's not like there's one sitting in those cities either. Even Corpus, Corpus is very limited staff wise.
Right.
So like Darla said, you're gonna have to bring someone down here.
How do y'all advertise, just curious?
For that one, we'll be on TMLs.
Okay, now,
Yeah.
not Indeed.
No,
just
for that one, we'll go national for that.
And we've been putting pretty much everything on Indeed now, haven't we?
Indeed, TML.
We have been putting everything on Indeed.
Our webpage.
We would probably put it on Indeed because,
Yeah.
but we will put it on Indeed.
So that one we'll put on, we'll go after, American National Planning Association. We'll do
Okay, good.
whatever the, like when we went after library, you do Texas library system, you do national librarians, you go after whatever.
And if that doesn't work, we thought about maybe putting some money to hire a headhunter and go around and basically call people like, hey, you want to move the code?
It might be worth hiring a search firm. I was on the search committee for the Chamber CVB this go around and when they hired Jeff Mintz before. And we used 2 different search firms before and this time. And I will tell you that when we went through the process, the search firm does make a huge difference. Now, being in a TML network, you automatically have a pool of people, right? You're not just on Indeed or Monster.com and getting some, random people. But I was very, very pleasantly surprised at the quality of candidates that we received immediately this go around in trying to hire someone for the position for the chamber and CVB CEO as compared to the first time. The first time we spent 9 months looking, and interviewing and searching and going through resumes. This time the process, we had someone qualified in our first round within a couple of months. And that was with COVID and people, not searching, not knowing what was going to go on. The worst time ever to hire a tourism director when the whole world was shut down, right?
Actually, maybe
So-
that might be the best time, I don't know.
It just was so much uncertainty. So, I agree with what you're saying, David. I think it's hard to hire high-level people at no matter what the position is, right? Particularly when you're coming to a small community. But I think that we might be real surprised. I think there are a lot of people that think very highly of the Fort Aransas community and what we've done. And I think that's probably different than moving to a town or
Yeah.
one of those communities. But
There's a certain pay scale, I don't know what it is, but it's around the 100 mark where when you go above that, you start looking at other people from other states are looking at you because the money's enough to move. But once you start dropping down that number, you really start only appealing regionally. And maybe this one's right in that cusp where
You were out of state, if I remember correctly. When the city hired you, you were out of state, weren't you?
No, I was in state.
Okay.
Yeah. I left Hawaii cold turkey.
But I will say your director level people with cities, pay attention to TML if they're going to read right. That's,
Well, sometimes people don't know they're looking.
That's how I
pay
found
until they've been offered.
and that's true. it's true, but I'll tell you that planners probably do it. The finance, they're sending out, this position's open.
Okay.
They email you and tell you, you know,
I was just saying,
Carrollton, well.
Sure, I agree.
You get all the time.
I just say if we don't get the pre-qualifications on the female, maybe we should use a council budget or whatever to hire a headhunter or firm
We're
to.
gonna start right away as soon as the budget gets approved.
Okay, can we move on to something else?
And it's 135, 42, 22, you know. So does anybody have any other questions about the general fund? They want to discuss? Or any other funds? There's really not, what we want to highlight the other funds, David?
Well, Lansing Road. Municipal kind of stayed the same.
I know in,
Debt service really didn't, debt service is going up a little bit because the,
the debt service is up, and that's because if you remember our harbor bond, the first 2 years were interest only. Starting in the third year, it is principal and interest because they assumed we would have some FEMA money, which we have gotten some FEMA money for the harbor, but not all of it yet. We have gotten some.
under one change, Joan and I discussed it under the nature reserve. And,
Oh, yes. I sent out page 41 correction.
Right,
right, there is a correction on the nature reserve.
Me.
She
I'd
said
like
there's
to
Go
talk
ahead,
about that.
Joan.
I really like to talk about that because, can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
Charles?
I can hear you. I'm just wondering what the light is coming out of the top of my head.
I don't know.
the sun, Mayor, coming through that light on your house.
Yeah,
Hmm?
blinds.
The
Well,
sunshine coming through that window.
I want to,
It's
say I'm
sure
really-
shining.
I'm really happy with this budget, and I'd like to thank Darla for all her hard work and David for working so hard to get this together. And really, it's a good budget, and it looks very positive. I was reading recently the Vision Port Aransas from 1998, which was steering committee co-chairs were George Horner and Mike Hall. And many of the things these friends of ours and peers suggested have happened. Work like developing Charlie's Pasture into a nature preserve, doing affordable housing, sidewalks to the beach in town, tropical landscaping throughout town with natives, cleaning up the marina, relocating the ferries to enhance the waterfront. We're doing that right now. The birding center, a recreational facility for sports. I mean, so many of these things we're doing and really exciting. And I guess I'm proud to be a part of a lot of this that's happening right now. Another one is significantly increased green space throughout town, especially on SH 361. And this is really important because we now have this 35 acres that are on the bay side, 361 out by the water tower that we got in a trade or a deal with Pamea. And that really needs to be worked upon. And our idea, I think Dave and I talked about this, was to put $50,000 from this special fund, hotel motel special, which has right now an estimated balance of $7,336,000, page 52. And to put $50,000 for survey and to begin a layout design for this nature park in that area. And also on this Vision Port Aransas, a cultural center for theater and the arts is one of the big things. Multi-purpose boardwalk with large art areas are a community arts and education facility funded by the city. Well, we have all of this and the city did not have to fund it. People that love the arts and the theater have funded those things, people and businesses from out of town and in town. and we have these beautiful facilities. And I would like to increase the funding for advertising for these so that we can get more people to come in to see our exhibits and our take part in our classes. And you'll look on page 55 that there's Art Center support has been $1,500. Proposed is up to $7,500. I suggest that we increase that to $20,000. And doing so also out of this fund would be a drop in the bucket, really. If we increased it $70,000, we'd still have a balance of $7,266,700 in that hotel motel special. And Dave, you wanted to talk about the park issue down there, I think.
Right. So Joan, you laid it out pretty good. As council recalls, we received approximately a 35-acre parcel. I kind of envision it as multi-purpose. We could do another use up against the road, but definitely the back 3/4. We have waterfront, so we were envisioning some type of, trail system, a kayak launch, but it would be the only bay access within the city limits, that would be open to the public, which we really need.
Right.
So and this would all be brought on council's direction to, you guys would provide that direction to, I would imagine, Joan, the Nature Preserve
Right.
board, because I kind of envision it being another, even though it's not connected, but being another segment of the Nature Preserve, being the south extension of that. That I would throw it to that board and see kind of what they come up with idea wise. The 50,000 gives us a little bit of money there to do some surveying, maybe hire some type of park planner for a little bit, just for some layout. And then that would come back to you guys next summer with, either grant money, we go after grants, or to build that facility. But this would just be the seed money to do the design, get the boards looking at it, and then bring something back to you guys in May with next year's budget.
Yeah.
I don't see anything in here on the purchase of the Jerry McDonald Field.
No, Mayor, that would be something that it really wouldn't require a budget. That would be something that council would discuss, and either we could use a combination of funds, for example, beefing up the city's park dedication fee, certificate of obligation bond. So it's not a budgeted, it doesn't need to be in the budget.
Okay. I really don't want a condos to be in there. I'd rather have the Jerry McDonald Field. So whatever we can do to purchase that is just what I want to do.
Well, we'll have to talk about that, though. I agree. We need to talk about that.
They're looking at it. It's one of the options that they want to look at.
We talked to them just the other day about this, and they're agreeable to selling it to us.
Yeah.
Right.
One question I know we discussed and Joe brought up about money to the art center and to possibly the PAC. Did we were to look at the past numbers or donations?
It's in there.
Well, she said it was 7,500, and then
We've been giving him 1,500, I've got it to 7,500 if y'all want more. And the consensus, we can do that.
no, I thought they were getting $20,000.
I would like more.
She said 1,500 in the past, and that share proposal is up to 6,000 additional for 7,500 total.
Which she was suggesting.
Divided by 2.
I misunderstood from last meeting. I thought she was.
For the art center, there is not support for the theater because they've not approached the city and asked for money.
No, I understand.
We give them money for use of their facility through our Parks and Recs department. Especially this year with COVID, we used them and we paid them a daily rate plus a cleaning fee. And we'll continue to do that as we transition.
Bruce, I think what you were referring to was, I think Joan had indicated that maybe they were getting that much monetary support from the chamber in the past.
Maybe that's what it was.
Not
Sorry. Yes.
Right.
Well, going back to Joan, I love your idea, Joan, if we could do that. put the 50,000 to start trying to see what we can do, feasibility, or do we do a feasibility
It would be
study?
just initial design.
Yeah. But I think it would be, especially in Port Aransas, I mean, to be able to have another nature preserve back there, but then a kayak launching area, because there's really no safe area to launch a kayak.
Okay, let me ask you a question, all of you council members. What we're talking about are items about theaters and things of this nature, but we have a number of residents in our town that aren't privileged enough to and aren't interested enough to go to those kinds of things. What are we doing? What do our citizens need? The
Well, Charles,
majority of
let
our
me tell you,
citizens, what do they need?
This is using hotel motel tax, which cannot be used to help our citizens.
I know that, but it's always geared to stuff that a minority needs instead of all of our citizens. What do they need?
Well, I disagree, Mayor. I think that the affordable housing is something that all citizens need in Port Aransas. I think we've been discussing like a recreational venue. I think that's something that all citizens in Port Aransas need. I think people need green space. I think they need places and things to do. So I think everybody in Port Aransas needs this stuff.
And how about the affordable housing that we're doing? I mean, we
Well,
are.
I know that, but that's what I'm saying. What are the things that our citizens, I haven't heard a thing that but like, for example, my neighbor over here, what does he need? And he needs a lot.
Yes, I don't understand.
Have we thought about these people, or are we just
Well, I mean,
throwing
I
up,
think,
or have we thought about these people, or are we just throwing things in the bucket that suit us?
I guess I don't understand the question that you said, Mayor. I'm a little confused. What question are you asking us?
My question is this: are we addressing the budget for the people who have things? Are we addressing the budget? Are there items that we need to have for people who need it, not for just us?
Mr. Mayor, I think we are. I think we've lowered the tax rate, or we proposed lower tax rate. I think that helps
That's
everybody.
good. That's a good item.
And we have
What
more
else?
police and more EMS.
All right, that's exactly what I'm
That's
talking
most of
about.
our budget.
Officers buying the ambulance.
Okay, so we have more. Police. Do we need more police?
Yes.
We need more than what we have. It seems to me we do, because I'm constantly seeing police overburdened with stuff.
Yes, sir.
We have police officers on berms down here that are actually weary and burdened by all of this stuff. Are we addressing the needs that we have that address the citizens?
Chief, are you still on the phone?
He is not.
We do have that in the budget.
but no, and those are all good
She's
points.
just
and-
going to agree with you guys.
We are addressing the police, I think, pretty strongly. We've increased overtime. We've increased their numbers, dispatch numbers. And then also a lot of citizen stuff that's not on here that typically is in the budget. And that would be all the street and drainage projects that are all for the citizens that we usually bring to you guys every budget cycle. The reason you're not seeing those citizen items is because there's so much of them are in our FEMA recovery. So we have huge drainage projects that are coming, and those are all great citizen projects. We got big drainage from Dolphin Lane, all along East Street, from the east side all the way to the concrete ditch, big underground boxes. So we have massive drainage projects in towns. So that's going to alleviate like that Allister drainage that's around Moby Dix. And then
What about the drainage problem that we have on Whispering Sands? You get 2 feet of water there.
No, and that's not in the FEMA project, because that's a low drainage problem. That's an elevation issue.
So that's not in the FEMA project.
No, it's not.
Is there an answer to that? What do we need to do to fix that problem?
Elevate structures. So there's a lot of citizen projects just in roadway improvements, drainage improvements, city infrastructure improvements.
we could easily bankrupt the city by just fixing everything at once.
We've come a long
Well, we have to
way.
do something to help. You guys don't hear all the complaints that I hear about drainage problems. And I hear tons of them from that area. And we have to do something to help those folks in those kinds of issues. I don't know what it is, but we have to do something. Maybe we can put pumps out and pump that out.
Is there a FEMA money that can buy them out?
Yeah, not off the top of my head.
Well, I know there was a program but I think that a lot of those houses are too valuable to,
Yeah.
or they would qualify, but people wouldn't take their offer.
I'm not sure that people, I don't know if they want to move and sell their homes. I think what they're looking for is just a little bit of support from the city when we have high water in those areas. And there's things that we can do. There's dam systems that we can invest in that divert water when we know there's areas that are going to constantly flood.
Can you speak up just a little bit?
I think the main streets that I see when we go through is Avenue, Springs, that area. And I understand that their lower levels are built in areas that are known to flood. That's not what we're seeing. It's coming up 4 feet sometimes in the properties, and it was not like that 2 years ago. So it is from overbuilding. It is from too much concrete being poured. It is because they have nowhere to drain. So we could do something. We could look at the dam structures that you can buy as a city and divert water. There's tons of them on the internet. We could put that in the budget. That's something that we want to look at. But as far as, I think there's options we haven't approached with that.
I'm not familiar with the dam system that the city could put. I do know they could put a pump in there with a long line that would come from a low level to a drain, something somewhere else. But sometimes you're just transferring the problem from here to here because this one was adequately flowing and this one's holding water. Now you pump it from here to here, and this one's now flooding the houses there.
What if we pump that water back up on Station Street and let it go in the drainage?
There's
Right now, we have-
areas in town that are getting the same amount of water. Obviously, we're all under, if it's raining 3 inches, it's raining 3 inches all around, but they're gathering in certain areas. So if there was a way that we could figure out to divert the water to higher grounds, that would be something that we really need to look into. The same straight time and time. And it's not the.
It's cheaper to fix the illegally constructed homes and make the homeowners responsible for illegal construction. And 80% of drainage problems would disappear.
Well, that's true.
Instead of putting it on the taxpayer.
But the fact is that they have that problem, whether it's their fault or not. And
Well,
that's the cheapest solution to the taxpayer is to get rid of the illegal constructed buildings.
Well, we have a program going on right now for stormwater drainage. We've hired an environmental engineering firm to help us decide these kinds of issues. So what we should do is wait and see what they have to say about these things and what we might can do.
well, what's their agenda? Have they adopted what they're going to look at?
They're looking at drainage in Port Aransas, the whole city.
Yeah, everything,
What can be done about it and where it is, and they're going to come up with recommendations.
not just selected areas.
No, the whole city, right.
But that's why FEMA does the buyout program, because it's the cheapest way on the taxpayers to, instead of building the $2 million pump facility, you go buy the 5 houses that are flooding.
Well, we certainly are going to do all that.
What's that? A bird?
That's my bird, my clock. Telling me it's 6 o'clock.
Do you know what Nueces stands for?
Nut,
No,
pecan.
let me give you an educational thing here.
Okay.
Had this conversation with Barbara Canales this morning, and she informed me after I was raising Cain with her, and she was raising Cain with me. I said, well, this whole county's nuts. And she said, you're absolutely right. That's what the Nueces means. It means nuts, walnut.
Right.
Hey, Dave, are we?
Nobody has humor anymore. Except you.
In reference to the FEMA, and I know we've had to change adjusters and all that, are we making any ground on our attorney?
You wanna, I can talk to you about 3 hours on FEMA if you want to.
I don't
You
wanna-
want a FEMA update?
Do we need to go up to Washington DC again?
You don't have to do that here.
Banking heads?
We're slowly getting traction. It's the whole state.
Let me ask you this, is FEMA speeding up their operation, or are they still dragging their feet?
Barely speeding up, if you could even call it
And
that.
that's the problem with FEMA. If you're expecting FEMA to do it, they probably won't do it until one or
Well,
two.
it's just more of it's a 3 to 5 year plan for them, not a 18-month plan.
Which doesn't really help us in the long run because we need things done now.
No, I know, it does. I mean, but we're making traction. We think we can put out the fishing piers very shortly, so we have 100% design on them, so we're making some progress. We should see some good projects coming out here.
How about the fire department building?
It's still an appeal.
Well, I would say all the doom, I think the city's come a very long way since RD, no doubt. I mean, and it's gonna be better for it.
But getting back to this hotel special, you guys, did you want me to have Darla bump it up to 10,000 or 20?
For the art center?
It all has to be used for advertising. That's all it can be used for. So I don't know if people want to work together to bring in art connoisseurs and people that like it, like they do over in Rockport. They have a big budget that they advertise all over. But certainly that would be helpful, I think.
It's just for advertising. They can't, I mean, it's not gonna go like for rent or paying salaries. I mean, that's what, $1,000 a month, that's barely a magazine ad or.
Well, I don't have a problem with the
No,
hotel.
a big program of advertising.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with hotel motel. Use as much as we can.
Right.
So, I mean, is the money earmarked for anything else or the city account collecting interest?
Yeah, so she has it at 3,500 for the art.
But she's asking about the 20.
Joan wants to bump it to 20.
Joe does?
Joan did, but I need to know
Yeah,
if there's
if
an
we can
agreement.
take it as a hotel,
We're
special,
talking about a hotel special.
And money is sitting there kind of,
and we have
Collecting
over
interest for
7
that.
million in it right now.
And then
All right.
50,000 for the park design.
We'll move that to 20 and then we'll add the 50 for the design.
Yep.
All right.
And I will note, I'm gonna add just a zero-turn mower, a garage for Nature Preserve headquarters, and a grant match for 18.5 in Nature Preserve, which comes out of Hotel Metro Special that I missed. So I'm looking through this. I have this sticky here, and
yeah, I'll say, wasn't that the RDC meeting, was there a turn lower or was that?
that's a different zero-turn mower. This one would be for the Nature Preserve. That would be for the community park.
Okay, got it. I didn't realize we didn't share.
We do share, but then we have several.
Okay, that's fine.
Nature Preserve pays for one, crazy.
Got it.
So when I will make those changes to the budget that you will, and now, I don't know if y'all want to discuss anything else. We do not.
Darn, on beach fund, did we add the lifeguard building?
There's 4, right?
Yeah.
What's that, Mayor?
4 lifeguards, permanent.
Well, yeah, or part-time equivalency, just, we don't know if we'll have 4 full-time, but we might do the equivalent to a part-time also.
We could
But
do,
one thing we wanted to add was a building that is, what we're envisioning is probably 80% garage space and 20%, one small office, a bathroom and a shower, and a little break area where they can at least do a little bit of training, shower at the end of the day, but mainly it's 80% where they could get all their equipment in and out of the weather, because right now it's just stored outside. So
Where do you propose putting that?
Mayor, I'm trying to, I've been master planning the water district land we bought, and I really wanted to put it there, but I don't think it's gonna fit because we're elevating public works in the fire station about 4 feet, and you have such, the ladder tower and the big equipment, we have to push the public works building and the new fire EMS building so far back to the interior of the lot that the middle area where I envision having a little bit more space, it's pretty small. It's still large enough to move the gas people over there. We envision the next couple of years building a very similar building where it's, one office, a break room, bathroom, mainly just garage space for gas, and get them out of this 1834 house that they're in. So I think moving gas over in between the EMS and fire and public works is the better fit, so that the surf building would not fit there also. So I would have to find the new best home for that. So I am currently looking at a couple different ideas. Would be, of course, we have the vacant lot across the street. And then, we're very kind of land poor. The other idea would be to partner with the county and put it somewhere down Beach Street. There's new water and sewer that's been extended to the RV park. So now there's water and sewer all the way down that. And to maybe do some type of lease agreement with the county and put the facility on Beach Street, which is the main lifeguard street that we're on, because it puts it right there. Moves a little bit too close seaward, you get a little bit more beat up there, but that would also be a good spot too. So we're just kind of looking to see where we're gonna spot this thing.
Right, well, I do remember the head lifeguard guy, Jared was talking about, he also wanted like a face wash station for jellyfish stings and whatnot.
Yeah.
So if it was on Beach Street, that would work out better.
Right,
If
it's
you
a lot
had to
better.
drive them all the way here in town or whatever, so.
Yeah, they'd have a better hot water source where they come and do their stings. So maybe that's a better idea, is the Beach Street idea, partnering with the county, getting a little chunk over by where Dunes Way, is it Dunes Way or Dunes Lane? Let's get that one mixed up.
Yeah.
Dunes Way and Beach Street, somewhere right in there might be a good spot.
And I think some of that land gets quite a bit higher as you get off.
Yeah, it does. I
and,
mean,
back
and you
in
can stay
town.
out of the 1,000-foot dune protection area, so your permitting wouldn't be that bad. And there is some high dirt in there, and now they have water and sewer, so it'd be a good spot, I think. Okay. So the mayor said he was working with Barbara on that one, getting that piece of dirt, Mayor.
He's ignoring
Mayor, did you hear me? You're on mute.
I'm on mute, but go ahead.
Are you gonna negotiate that piece of land for me?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So anyway, that's a couple of different places we can put.
It is currently at 250,000. That might be a little modest, we don't know, but we do have a lot of money in that fund. If we were to go forward, we could do budget out if it was more.
It's mainly unair conditioned garage and about 600 square feet of AC.
And our lifeguards support the county portion of the beach, do they not?
Yes, we have a separate contract for that. So sometimes it comes and goes, but usually they do have a contract with us to have one stand there, just north of the pier.
I think we mentioned that strong arm, that they might be more willing to let us put a lifeguard's garage there.
Yeah.
Talking about the beach, with all this Rona action happening, I was thinking, have we ever considered putting like, when you go into a state park and you go through the entrance building, and got the arms and you buy the pass and you get the, you know,
Like a man,
the beach bag,
yeah,
the garbage bag, we can have those there, we can sell beach parking passes. Yeah, just a man station, and if we're subbing it out to bronze, maybe like this, employees could use that area. I know that the Adopt a Beach, we would use it. Has that ever been?
yeah, we've talked about doing manned, you know, because Corpus, sometimes they do it, sometimes they don't. They have a couple little small kiosks that they'll throw out there. I think they're movable. And they usually just park a truck in front of them. And they, you know, so sometimes they make the effort, but it's not at all their beach access points. Usually it's just at Zon, I believe. Zon and Whitecap. So, I mean, we've talked about it on and off. It would be a way to potentially try to get 100% of your ticket sales so that basically people don't come onto the beach. But it would be the problem with it is that you could probably fund it because it's in beach, but it would be very high maintenance. Because we would have to do it at 1A, 1, Sandcastle, G, Lantana, Beach.
I would think that just the main points, like, you know.
You could reduce it to,
Reduce it
You
and just
could
have
reduce
those
it.
with the main entrance points where when people are looking
Yeah.
for those, because if they're gonna come in on.
Yeah.
the streets, they're going to.
it would be something that would need a lot of work.
But it is a possibility using.
It's a possibility, I would say in this budget right now, it's a little late because it would be something like that we would start working on in May. We'd come up with design and how to fully do it, like engineered, and then we would bring you guys like a full-blown package with cost, layouts of how we would do it, but it's doable. It's just a little late for this cycle right now, but
Would it be like a gated deal with like a stop sign?
you could probably do it numerous ways.
Or just like.
Corpus doesn't have a gate.
No.
They just sit there, but it's more towards it's before the beach flares out, so it's a little bit up a little
Just kind of
bit.
nip down a little bit.
Yeah,
I just see the use, and I'm not even thinking of paid individuals to sit there and do that. I'm thinking of the uses between some of our cleanup crews and just the volunteer groups out here. We set up tents at least once a month in that area. And it's always a blast. It's always very beneficial. Everybody is very super excited to get bags or whatever it is we're passing out. So I just thought if there was more of a permanent structure that different groups could use throughout the seasons, that might be something to look at.
yeah, like just like a little volunteer shack or something.
Right. Maybe
Yeah.
not this budget.
Yeah,
How could you put a permanent structure on the beach and it not be destroyed?
well, you would put it, not a permanent, just like, it'd almost be like a Skidoo can, like a slider.
It'd have to be something that
Oh,
you.
yeah,
can
yeah,
put
yeah,
on
yeah.
it.
It would just be like, she's probably envisioning like a little 5x5 kiosk, you know, like a little ticket booth kiosk, and you build it on skids, and you just pick it up with our front end loader and haul it off. Yeah, just something like that. Just something where people pull in, it gets their attention, and you have a person there in the vest, and they're handing out, you know, the yellow trash bag.
A little shade.
Yeah, just a little shade structure. Yeah.
So if you have any other questions or any other funds or things you'd like to discuss, kind of cover the beach fund.
I was kind of, looks like we're not seeing a lot of growth in the zone 2 impact fee.
It just started. I mean, that's south of Cinnamon Shore 1.
Right.
So everything north of that is in other impact fee zones, so.
That would be, but that's Cinnamon Shore South, we call it that.
Correct, and that's why you're starting to see a little bit of growth.
Anything else?
So some of the other items that we talked about, the budget workshop, the smaller items that I know can, probably easily Is that gonna be in detail when we come back and visit Darla for things?
Such as, because I think we tried to cover everything you put in the council workshop. We got the ACM, we got the Christmas decorations, we have more money for the art center, rec center, entrance sign, airport improvement
You have the
plan.
entrance signs in there.
The entrance sign is in at 85K and Huntsville special.
Okay, that's what I was.
What were some of your other ones? You guys have notes that you're looking at? Just rattle them off.
I'm looking at mine.
I didn't bring mine, actually, I brought mine over.
There is not dollar money in there for a comprehensive plan review at this point, but with an assistant city manager, that's when that might be able to be picked up.
Yes.
So we did not.
It's not in there?
We did put dollars in for an assistant city manager, so we have.
But
to
not
have
a
that.
comp plan.
We have to have that before
I didn't hear you.
we would,
Oh, Mayor, she said that there's no money in there for a comp plan rewrite in this budget because you'd have to bring your assistant city
Yeah,
manager
okay.
in first
I got
and let him or her
I
get
got
the
you.
feedback for a while before you pull the trigger on it.
Yeah, okay.
Christmas decorations, I know that's an interest, we have 20,000 in the budget for Christmas decorations.
Right now.
Right now, we have some
We're
money
spending.
in this year's budget.
30% off in July.
Oh, it's August. It's August, but we need to get that ordered now. We need somebody tasked with what we're gonna get. And we
Holly.
also put another 20 in there for next year. But we need to get that in there. So we did put Christmas decoration money in there. We increased the art centers we discussed. I know Wendy wanted to be part of the community theater, but they haven't approached us, so I don't know what to do for the community theater, because it's one we're usually not.
Yeah, my point was that we just needed to be careful getting the one organization.
Right.
So, if they haven't approached us, then.
Rec center, we got the approval from the EG, we're gonna talk about that next week. The entrance sign is in there, the airport improvement plan is in there, the match for our piers and bulkhead is in there. Street improvement drainage, we have the CMPG grants for the street improvement.
Yeah, you can see
And I
how much we
mentioned in the construction fund, we have completed all of our bond money projects, and we have about 300,000 left in bond money for that. And those bonds were passed for streets and drainage. So they can be used for the drainage map for your CDBG drainage grants that we're gonna try to get done. And those were due, I think the grant applications went in last week.
Yeah.
So we don't have those completely written yet, but we have applied for those through the state GLO department. Additional staff that we discussed is in there. And I don't have any other notes that council requested. Is there anything that somebody else thought that we would not have addressed?
No. To go back to the drainage issues that we discussed, I think that if that's something that we can look at later on in the year, if there are some solutions that are viable given to us by the city engineer. I know that he's looked at it repeatedly, and we discussed it at length, but maybe that's something that we can address. And knowing what the real cost is, I think it's hard to appropriate a certain amount of money and just put it in the budget now and just say, fix it. I think we have to really get some solutions. If they are, like you said, Dave, I mean, the solution may be way more expensive than the problem.
I mean, maybe, I think one thing you could do right now, because there's a big engineering lift on that and come this winter and spring, if I had a small budget out of the streets and drainage assigned to, going with an engineer to help me out, then I could bring to you guys next budget cycle hey, here's some engineered ideas with the cost and everything, but that's months and months of development.
Sure.
But I would need some seed money to use. Darla, would it be in that street?
No, not really, because that's bond money that was for street and drainage and construction. That was fine. I think you would have to, we do have money in street improvement fund.
How much is in there?
Let me know how much is in there.
An impact fee for zone one use.
Yeah.
Well, if it can be used for that.
Drainage has to be incidental to your street. Can't be by itself.
Hotel.
We can't do
Special
that.
on
No.
drainage. It would be a home run.
How much is in there? Where?
And street maintenance,
Okay, so there's 345K in street maintenance. If you guys
want some money in there.
put something into,
What is
Well,
your,
it's
is
the-
it just little something like 10, 20?
I think 15. Yeah, that way you guys are giving me the green light to go spend engineering dollars on a solution to the Whispering Sands area.
Well, and I think it needs to be properly engineered and that, right? I mean, we can't just throw
No,
ideas out there. I mean, we need to let them discuss it.
Yeah.
So that whatever we do will be a long-term fix, if we can do something. So I appreciate that. I don't want to take away from street maintenance, because the last thing I want to do is end up like other communities where our streets are horrible 10 years from now from neglect and, overuse. So, but I don't think $15,000 is going to change, that. So I would be in favor of that.
Yeah, I agree. Let's do that.
Okay, I will make that change into the street. maintenance.
Mayor, does that sound good? We'll put some engineering money into the budget so we can look at the Whispering Sands drainage.
That'll be fine, but I'm curious, the Pink Hotel, the west side of that borders that street, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we've torn, the Pink Hotel is gone. Who owns that property there?
He still owns it, although it is tied up legally, Mayor.
That would
We
be,
have some big liens on
yeah, if we could come across that property into our street over there, I think it's about the same level. It'd be a solution if we could get across the property to drain that street down.
Well, actually, I've already looked at that. The 11th Street drainage is higher than Whispering Sands. So if we connected, we flood Whispering Sands.
Okay, it looks.
That's a
Seems-
dilemma.
Okay, gotcha.
But we'll look at it. Let's put the engineering seed money in there, and we'll try to get some engineering design and bring those concepts back to you guys in the spring.
Look for an assistant city manager that's got some drainage experience.
Yeah, there you go. Right.
Actually, also, I know it was discussed at council meeting a couple meetings ago. I believe it was 12th Street on the east side of.
Yes, 12th Street drainage is in the CDB, or it's in the, what
Well,
fund is
it's
that?
already being addressed.
Yeah, it's being addressed.
Got it.
Yeah,
I would say if just a little bit more money, and you're already out there.
yeah, it's the connect, it's Dolphin Lane, 12th Street, Avenue E. They're all connected. So that's in the CDBG drainage.
Okay, perfect.
Well, I just want to say congratulations on making the budget work and getting every item that we discussed in there and not being a detriment to the taxpayer. So kudos.
All this stuff and gets a lower tax rate.
Great budget.
So
Big grant.
we
You and Darla.
I agree. Congratulations. Yeah,
what I gotta do?
working so hard.
We have a meeting next Thursday that we don't have any changes to the budget, but we still need to have that meeting because your deadline for election is the 17th. So we will have a meeting next Thursday, the 13th.
But it may be a short one.
Shorter, yeah, because
It
we
should
don't have to
definitely be
review
a
everything.
pretty
Yeah.
short one. I will, the changes that we mentioned that y'all had and the few capital items in nature preserve that I missed, which will be hotel motel special, we'll pay for those. I will get those in, 20,000 for Art Center, 50,000 for a study feasibility for nature areas, concerns, whatever we're
Yeah.
calling that. And 15,000 in the street maintenance fund for engineering. Anything else anybody wants?
If we think of something next week, that would be the last minute to address it, correct?
Yeah, we can still get it in.
It would not be the last minute to
Yeah,
address
we
it.
still have,
One more.
yeah.
We have several.
Actually, you have two,
Okay.
because you'll have council the following week that you can do an adjustment. And then you would have the ultimate approval.
September 10th.
Yeah.
So we have to September 10th. If y'all think of anything, if anybody wants anything in the budget, they need to email David, myself, and the District City Council.
Yeah.
You can't approve it in email.
We can't put it in, we'd bring it back at the next
We
meeting.
bring it back to the meeting. I mean,
You know,
y'all can approve
Councilmember-
it via email, but it does need to be emailed to let us know
Right.
if you want.
This is an informational piece for you folks in council. All the beach access roads will be, the barriers will be taken down next week.
Okay, so she's gonna do it a little early.
Yeah, well, she doesn't mind if we do it on Monday, but I think the 16th, 17th is a good time.
Did you say the 17th, Charles? Because that's still 11 days from now.
Yeah, the 16th and 17th.
Oh, so, but she's not gonna go to Labor Day.
Not renewing it with the same.
You think we ought to go to Labor Day?
No.
So item B is an action item. So are y'all-
Oh, Fran's getting up, getting
Yeah.
on us, Mayor.
item B is an action item. So we'll need the council to approve the changes.
I make
that
a
are
motion
proposed.
to approve the budget as amended.
I second.
Mayor Pro Tem Moore,
Yes.
Councilmember Salamine,
Yes.
Mayor Bouillon,
Yes.
Councilmember Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford,
Yes.
Councilmember Holt,
Yes.
motion carried.
Fine.
So Francisca, can you,
This is a, what, Joan?
I wanted to show the dates that we're looking at for the meetings.
Next Thursday, August 13th.
Can we read item C so we can discuss that?
Oh, yeah, item C. Mayor, you wanna read item C, or who's reading the agenda items?
You guys read it.
Wendy, item C.
Item C, budget items including but not limited to setting tax rate appraisal rules, future meeting dates. The agenda item report is in your packet.
Okay, so agenda item, next Thursday, 5 PM. And there'll be a couple extra items on that one.
When do we vote?
And then council is after that.
The 20th,
Yes.
and then we have
September.
September the 10th is the D date, correct?
Yes, sir. September 10th is the official adoption of the budget.
But September 3rd, we will have a very quick meeting for a public hearing for the RDC budget and the city budget with passing on September 10th.
Yes,
All those
so
meetings
quickie
are at
meeting
5.
September 3rd at 5. That's a very quick one. And the 10th should be quick too.
It should.
So do we need to do next week on the 10th? Can't we do that right now?
It's gonna be on Thursday, the 13th, and yes, you do need to do it because of some other items that will be on the agenda, mainly your
Election.
event center. Calling the election, it has to be done by the
Yeah, you
17th.
guys have to vote on that.
And that will
Okay,
be-
so Monday, crossing out, we're not.
Yeah, we don't need Monday, the 10th. We just have, next meeting is a week from tonight, August 13th.
and the September 3rd, does RDC meeting as well.
Oh, this is wrong. I'm confused. Our next
Joe,
meeting is
so-
going to be,
You have, Joan, your next
Uh-huh.
meeting is August 13th, a week from tonight.
Okay,
Nothing on Monday, just the 13th, which is Thursday. The week after that, the 20th, is your regular scheduled council meeting.
Right.
Then the next meeting after that is September 3rd, which is a very quick RDC. Does council have to be there or just RDC?
We have to have a public hearing on the budget.
Oh, yeah, so it's a public hearing, so it's RDC plus council on September 3rd, which is a Thursday at 5 PM. And then September 10th, which is a Thursday at 5 PM, is the final adoption of the budget.
And then the 17th.
And then the 17th of September is your regular scheduled council meeting. Then we can all go on vacation.
Yay.
Uh,
I have something Friday for just when y'all are done.
I wish.
Okay, so do we have to make a motion?
No,
All right.
Any other?
Item 4.
I got something real quick. And just things to save us down the road. If we're doing the new, affordable housing, we need to put some kind of cover over the drainage ditches because they're right at the entrance. There's tons of rocks, little pebbles and bleachy, and it's falling into the drains. And I don't know if we can make them clean it up or.
Yeah, we can make them. They got in trouble last week for it. So.
Well, they haven't done anything about it. It's
Yeah.
still affecting more there today than there was a couple days ago.
Yeah,
So,
we'll have a chat.
anyway, it's gonna cost us to clean it out and, might as well, $100 prevention save $1,000 to clean out.
Well, y'all done an amazing job, Darla. I know I don't know how you do what you do, especially with everything in your mind. And I know God is gonna have you in your hands and you're gonna do great. And I know on behalf of our staff, our city, and we appreciate, I don't know how you stay focused to get this budget done, but we appreciate you so much.
Absolutely.
yeah, definitely.
We miss you guys.
Yeah, we're gonna be praying. It's gonna come.
Hey,
Get to the Zoom.
I'm gonna zoom.
Any other
Thanks,
comments?
everyone.
Meeting is adjourned.
Good night.
Meeting is-
Bye, Joan. Bye, Mayor.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Was the audio better?
It was better. Thank you.